We all know. Everyone and their great-grandmother knows chapter 795 of One Piece, or episode 739 of One Piece. Even your great-grandmother knows Kaido's introduction. Ask her about it, and she will tell you, Sonny, that is one of the most intense and hyped character introductions she has ever seen in anime and manga. Everyone knows. And outside of the hype of falling 10 kilometers and the Kid Hawkins Apu alliance at the time crapping their pants, Kaido was clearly a suicidal maniac, a suicidal man. According to narration, nothing anyone did could kill him.
つまり誰も彼を殺せなかった。
Not the Marines, not the Yonko, and not even the monster himself. Now we fast forward to Wano, Act 3, with the current latest chapter of 994, and Kaido's character is slowly but surely unraveling. We see his ties and his relationship to his crew, his subordinates, and how many of them actually truly admire him, like Ulti and Sasaki. We see his willingness to give Momo another chance at life, despite Orochi's wishes. But in the latest chapter, we get even more character development, not character growth, character development, for the big man himself, Yonko, Kaido. Kaido states to the Scabbards that he loves the way of the samurai, and how death is what completes a person, quote unquote. Death is what completes a person. So given what we know about Kaido now, and given what we saw previously before Wano Country, why does Kaido even bother to aim to get the One Piece treasure itself with Big Mom? Why does someone like Yonko Kaido, a suicidal madman, want to become the Pirate King? What does the Pirate King mean for someone like Kaido? Now I must say, before I continue on, if you do support your boy, when it comes to the content at large, whether it's going to be on YouTube, on Twitch, on DLive, a simple thumbs up or thumbs down, up to you, I'm not biased. Rate the video, subscribe, click on the bell for notifications, and if you haven't done so already, make sure to go in the box below, follow me on Twitter and on Discord. And if you really are enjoying the content, it'll be awesome as all hell if you do promote this video on your socials. Woo. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we must get on with the show and talk about Kaido, his dream, and how his dream ties to the One Piece treasure itself. Now, first things first, Kaido's dream. Based on information we have about Kaido before and during the Wano arc, it looks like Kaido's dream is to die an abnormal death, putting it mildly. A great death that will forever be remembered in the annals of time. Now, we're going to be spending a lot of time talking about death in this video, so I hope that YouTube doesn't demonetize this video. Unfortunately, a lot of platforms nowadays are damn soft and it's kind of disgusting, but this is the topic of the video, so the show must go on. Now, getting back to our good old boy, our good old friend Kaido. For Kaido, it looks like death is the ultimate in every sense of the word. In every sense of the word. Your accomplishments during your life, or the kind of person you were, all these things are second to death, because death is the ultimate act / event. In theory, Kaido could just drown himself. He could just literally jump off of the top of the Onigashima skull and just drown himself. End of story. He could easily do that, but he won't. And the reason why he won't, aside from of course Oda's writing, is because Kaido himself puts too much value in death. This is why in chapter 994 he mentions Roger and Whitebeard, and then says the way of the samurai, that quote unquote they did it right. So it's not just dying, but you have to die the right way. And if they did it the right way, in the case of the samurai, the way of the samurai, in the case of Roger, in the case of Whitebeard, then there is a wrong way. The flip side exists. Where there is light, there's also darkness. Duh. And it's also the reason why Kinemon responds to Kaido in saying, don't be conceited, Kaido. There is no glory in losing to you. In Kaido's mind, the most glory someone can achieve in their lives is in their final hour. So I would say, think of a story, right? You have a great series with characters that you come to love and invest in. But if the conclusion of that series is lackluster or just plain bad, then it can ruin your love for that series and have potentially a catastrophic effect for how the series is remembered by all of its fans. So of course, I could go to Game of Thrones, duh, but I don't want to get into these sets where it is the final season of the Game of Thrones. No, hell no. Let's focus on One Piece, okay? Because this is a One Piece video, obviously. Okay, fine, so, Game of Thrones, no. One Piece, One Piece. Oh, what a bad final season that was, Jesus. If, for One Piece, if the series has a bad final arc, or just a bad end in general, then many fans' view of the entire series will probably fall in tow. That is a natural reaction that we have. Despite the great things in the series, despite the greatness that One Piece has to offer outside of the final arc, if the final arc itself is not up to snuff, if it's universally perceived to be bad, then this will diminish the quality of the series, I would argue definitely so, in many readers and watchers' minds. I felt the same way for Hitman Reborn, for Dragon Ball Z the Majin Buu saga, and for the Naruto 4th Great Ninja. Whoa. The 4th Great Ninja. Ugh. No. Hell no.
Soon after.
These series have really great things to them, but the final arcs, or just the ends, were bad enough, or not even close to being good, to where it was like this, no. And it does diminish the quality of these series in my mind. And in Kaido's case, we can apply this notion of storytelling to individuals. On the flip side, though, I'm actually reminded of Sarkois from Decadence, an anime that came out earlier this year. A character who meant to do good, but failed absolutely miserably, stained his legacy, betrayed friends, and was seemingly irredeemable. But the conclusion of that character was absolutely spectacular, damn legendary, a major boon and benefit for the very word itself. So this would prove, in this case, Kaido's notion of the value of the final hour, the value of the final moment for an individual. And on a side note, when it comes to the whole way of the samurai, well, that I think Kaido is talking about seppuku, or the, in this case, ritualistic suicide. Where seppuku, we all know, is a way to die with honor, to restore honor if you commit any crimes for the individual and for their families or loved ones. Initially, I thought that Kaido was talking about the all-encompassing way of Bushido. And maybe in part he is talking about the all-encompassing way of Bushido, which would constitute certain things like loyalty and patience and sincerity, compassion, almost like the Eastern version of chivalry. But that way of life, what Kaido seems to hone in on the most is how the samurai view death. Because after his statements of the way of the samurai, he talks about Roger and he talks about Whitebeard. And then right after he says how death completes a man. And then Kinemon follows up how, well, there's no glory in dying to you. So when it comes to the code of honor that the samurai lived by, the seppuku ritual was actually reserved for them initially, meaning the samurai. So I think the main focus here is, yes, he probably respects the whole Bushido lifestyle, but it is more so how the samurai view death that Kaido is really honing in on, which again ties directly to seppuku, because Kaido himself appears to be again lacking in so many other aspects for the samurai way of life. Think of the mafia guy that we saw in one of these chapters of One Piece, where this guy was going to turn to an ice oni, but in order to preserve his humanity and therefore his honor, he was going to commit seppuku to kill himself. Or even the very first chapter of Wano. It's titled Seppuku, with Zoro performing the same act. I did a video actually earlier this year about what I think the core theme of this arc is, and a lot of these aspects I do discuss in that video. So then doubling back all the way to Kaido before Wano Country, when we first saw him in the series, when Kaido jumped off the Sky Island, or if you're a big fan of the Uroge pushed him off, it's up to you. I'm not gonna fight it. Folks want to say that Uroge has the goddamn Rio hockey and he pushed him from that distance. Whatever. Okay, fine. Congratulations, Uroge. You're broken. The narration noted to how unusual it was for someone to actually die this way. So even in terms of suicide, what Kaido is doing off the gate, the very first time we see Kaido, is abnormal. To, of course, jump off a Sky Island and kill yourself that way. Not only that, but he had an audience as well, with Uroge and his men watching what he was doing, which also kind of goes hand in hand with the notion of seppuku, with how a lot of times there's gatherings and how there's crowds to see someone kill themselves. When we find out that he single-handedly fought against Marines and Yonko, which reminds me actually of the Golden Lion Shiki against Garp and Sengoku, with that being said. But they failed to kill him despite him being captured 18 times. Kaido was captured 18 times, and he was sentenced to death 40 times. And it's safe to assume, I'd argue, that during these executions, there were many people gathered watching the process unfold. All these things Kaido did are in line with Kaido's desire/dream to die for a grandiose death, similar to many great legends across the world of One Piece. Of course, Whitebeard, Roger, Chad Den is included as well, but ultimately failing to accomplish his dream at their hands. The other Yonko, the Marines, they could not kill Kaido, despite Kaido losing 7 times, being captured 18 times, being sentenced to death 40 times. Every time he tried to accomplish his dream, he failed. He failed. And this probably leads to one of the, if not the reason, why Kaido drinks so much. If death, a grandiose death that Kaido seeks, if that completes a man, and Kaido's had a lot of chances to achieve that, but Kaido has failed every time, then using Kaido's logic, Kaido is incomplete. He must feel like there's some part of him missing because he can't achieve the last final step to completion. Like a hole in his chest. Like think of Ichigo and Ukiura. Legitimately speaking, just a gaping hole in his chest. And he uses alcohol to fill in that hole, to numb the pain. And I'm actually happy, in a way, despite this topic of death, I'm happy that we're seeing Kaido still be consistent with this I wanna die thing, even though he's sober. I was really afraid of Kaido's desire and dream to end it all was just something that he got from being drunk. A suicidal drunk. And of course, I'm gonna give shout outs to the Red Force podcast, because those two Aussies gave me the idea in the first place. And I don't like the idea. Kaido being a suicidal drunk, like Big Mom's hunger pangs, but in this case, it's Kaido's drinking. If that was gonna be the case, that would piss me off. That would have pissed me off. But now, after this chapter, 994, now we see Kaido's respect for death itself. We can, I think, safely and genuinely say that when Kaido wants to die, that is 100% Kaido to the bitter end, and not some alcohol-induced state. Thank God for that. I like consistency in that regards. Consistency. And then finally, the last part for this section of the video, there might be an element to Kaido's suicide that involves restoring his honor. Again, seppuku. He says, I like the way of the samurai. Seppuku, in part, is restoring honor. And then Kinemon talks about glory, when it comes to dying at Kaido's hands and how there's none there. We don't know much about Kaido's backstory. We got bits and pieces from the Oden flashback, and we know about the Rocks Pirate stuff, but that's really it. That's all we really know. So Kaido's backstory, when we finally do get it, may involve Kaido doing something in the past, when he was much younger, doing something very disgraceful, something very dishonorable. And I want to say it was the old lady stuff when he hit Oden and the Baba came in there and distracted Chaden by cosplaying as Momo. No. I would argue that and that alone wouldn't be enough to give Kaido this current mindset. And plus, he killed her anyway. Off screen, mind you, which is unfortunate, but he killed the Baba anyway. In doing so, he probably restored that lost honor by killing her and showing Chaden, listen man, that was a mistake. My bad. So, I'm going to guess that at some point, Kaido, if it is honor-based, Kaido may have done something very dishonorable, which is why he's trying to kill himself as a means of restoring this lost honor. In chapter 985, Kaido and Big Mom make the declaration that they'll be the ones to find the One Piece, and how the existence of the ancient weapons will bring in fear and war to all humanity. This to achieve the world of violence that they seek. So, now that we have a better understanding of Kaido's dream, we can now understand why Kaido wants the One Piece and become Pirate King. The world of violence that Kaido wants is more easily achievable if he becomes the Pirate King or one of the Pirate Kings. Oddly enough, sharing the throne with Big Mom herself. And as far as I understand, she wouldn't be Pirate Queen, she'd be another Pirate King in the terminology. That being said, we see how Roger and Whitebeard ushered in great pirate surges by talking about the One Piece itself in their final hours. Roger, arguably, of course, even more so than Whitebeard, because in Roger's case, he was the Pirate King. If Kaido becomes the king of the pirates, then his words hold the same level, if not an even higher level of weight and command and motivation than Roger's words. So the very dream that many people across the world want to achieve, Kaido or Kaido/Big Mom have achieved. They have achieved the pinnacle of piracy. And when you do that, imagine the weight you have even in other parts of the world. Picture an active pirate king within the world seeking violence, chaos, and quote, doesn't even care if this boring world is destroyed. Pirates in the North Blue, pirates in the West Blue, in the South Blue. This is no longer a mere Yonko. This is someone who holds the highest title possible among all pirates, the universal king of the pirates. This would lead to global anarchy. Pirates attacking every possible island, country, and with the backing of the new Pirate King overlord himself. Like he's Ainz Ul Gao, but he's controlling the entire planet and he's a drunken dragon. Millions of men, pirates around the world would go into the new world to serve Kaido, and thus the age of violence and blood would begin. Like it's goddamn Warhammer 40k.
Forget the promise of progress and understanding. For in the grim, dark future, there is only war. There is no peace amongst the stars, only an eternity of carnage and slaughter.
Like I'm not even trolling you. And if you feel like folks won't get motivated when it comes to, like people's titles, like the weight of that title, think of Damaro Black, right? This dude, the fake Luffy guy. When he was using Luffy's name to try and control many new supernovas, pirates, at the beginning of the time skip, just by using Luffy's name, he was able to almost gather up this whole new generation of supernova after the time skip on Shibondi. And that was Luffy's name. That was just Luffy's name. For the Pirate King, times that by like 100,000, 1,000,000. That is the power of the Pirate King title. When I say millions, I earnestly mean millions. If people knew that there was an active pirate king who wanted to literally usurp the entire system, and this pirate king is ushered in a world of violence and anarchy, millions would follow in tow. And mind you, Whitebeard did say that once the treasure is found, someone would pick a fight, quote unquote, with the Marine/world government. But the assumption is that this global war will be purposeful. Whoever finds that treasure would have a meaningful, purposeful war, a global war, against the Marines and world government to try and change things for the better. That'll be the ultimate goal of this final global war. You really think that Kaido wants to change things for the better? Even if Kaido knows the truth, do you really believe that Kaido wants to change things for the better? No, of course not. In Kaido's case, it's violence for violence. It's blood for blood. The weak die and the strong survive.
For in the grim, dark future, there is only war.
That simple. So yes, even though there will be a final war after the treasure is found, the motive for that war, let's say for someone like Luffy, compared to let's say someone like Kaido, is a universe apart. Universes, it's a multiverse apart. Absolutely. And mind you, this applies all the same if Big Mom and Kaido share the throne, okay? Big Mom and Kaido have already agreed to conquer the world, and only after they've achieved conquering the globe, then, and only then, will they fight each other to death. So once world domination / the world of violence is complete, then Big Mom, Kaido, one-on-one, let's go. And all of this, at the end of the day, for Kaido, sharing the One Piece of Big Mom, creating the world of violence, getting the ancient weapons, it's just a means to an end. In the world of violence, Kaido would find his dream and die.
The man wants to die.
Because the man still wants to die. Just how Roger died and the whole world was shaken. Not just because of his words, but simply because he was also the Pirate King. If the reigning Pirate King, Kaido, were to die, it would be remembered for all time. So in conclusion, for someone like Luffy, his dream is to become Pirate King. And with that title comes the ultimate freedom. According to him, the person with the most freedom in the sea is the Pirate King. But understand that in order to be the freest person in the ocean, you must have the necessary power to back up that freedom. Freedom without power is nothing more than an illusion of freedom. You must have the necessary power to back up that freedom, because that freedom will of course be challenged. And in Luffy's case, by the time he becomes the Pirate King, we're going to assume that he has the necessary physical power, but now he also has the highest prestige that a pirate can ever afford to have. With the title of Pirate King, there is an extraordinary amount of power. And whoever is the reigning Pirate King can use that power as they see fit. Kaido's dream would only be inevitable if he could claim the One Piece, fight a global war against world government / Marines, and then maybe die in the hands of, let's say, Big Mom, let's say Emu maybe, or let's say the Goroshi themselves, or like OD, like they can go in hard. Maybe Joy Boy returns and then boom, he comes there and he kills Kaido, whatever. However he's going to die, he will die. And it will be something innately grandiose, because he will be the Pirate King or one of the Pirate Kings. Because he is at the point now in this, situation where he has conquered or damn near conquered the world. But despite being the global conqueror, despite ushering in a world of violence and so on, or nigh a world of violence, despite being the Pirate King, it's all just a means to an end for a guy who is just trying to complete himself the quote-unquote right way.
男は 死に場所を探していた。
So, my friends, on that note, that is today's video. A hefty video on Mr. Land, Sea, or Air, Yonko Kaido. But let me know your stance on the subject matter at hand. Once again, it'd be a huge boon if you were to rate the video. That'd be awesome as all hell. You use, of course, Zaymausu to click, rate the video, to click, subscribe, to click on that bell to join the squad. And of course, as always, once again, feel free, please do, comment in the comment section down below. Peace out, y'all. Have a nice one. Be easy and take care.